Well, we're back onto another episode of our, what's turning out to be every fortnight, a little bit of a catch up on the things that we've been doing on the channel. It's now the end of August if you're watching us live, and or if you're watching us later, then pop anything that you find interesting into the comments. So we've been on a few things since we've last been on. A couple of videos have gone up and a few more things have been organised and started to get set up, which we're also going to go into. I'm trying to think back to when the last video that was put up was. Now, I don't think we talked about the Hampstead Well video on our last live stream. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. And did anyone see any of that? The Hampstead Well one. It's that spring, literal water spring, which is in Lower Neston or Little Ness. It's basically, well, actually Burton. If you know the little village of Burton, it's just on the outside of the little village of Burton, and it's called Hampstead Well. It's been there for, well, hundreds and hundreds of years, and was used by local people way back as a source of fairly clean water. At the time, no tap water or anything like that then. However, there are a couple of other springs around the peninsula as well. If you ever wanted some spring water that you wanted to go and try and drink, I'll tell you about one of those later. But the one at Hampstead Well, have you ever been down there? It seems to be one of those places that is hardly, even after putting the video out, people put messages up saying, never knew this place was here. It's outside of a small village, tucked out of the way, and you really don't know it's there, but if you find it, it's a little lay-by on the little road going down from Burton down to Burton Marshes, which is right on the coast of the Dee, onto the Dee Marshes. And the friends of Hampstead Well have done an amazing job. It's like a little haven. It's almost surreal in a way. It's sort of sunk down. You're out of the way of everything, very quiet. And if you see the video, then you'll see what I mean. And if you ever get by there, there's a little car park that you can pull into, any room for, say, one or two cars. Generally, you're there on your own anyway, but well and worth having a look at, and sitting for 5 minutes or anything like that you wanted to do. Now, I've said about another spring. There is a video about this. It's the Park Gate Spring, and it's on what is currently the renamed quite recently the King Charles III England Coastal Path. It's on that path. It goes along. It's where the path has to come back up into the housing estate, but just there, you'll see if they find it on the video. In the last couple of years, someone's put a standpipe at the source of the wells this spring. Now, naturally, the spring water's coming down from the hills, Heswell Hills, and up higher in Neston, and it's filtered, rainwater that's filtered through the ground, and it's making its way down, and it pops up in any little crack and things like that it finds through the stone. So it's filtered through rock, filtered through all the stone, and it gets to the bottom. And it actually just drained into the Dee estuary. So quite recently, someone's put a standpipe there, and it's like it's quite wide, say about that wide, maybe a bit smaller. But there's a constant flow of water coming from it, from the water table, which is actually above you at that point. Constant flow, and you can put a bottle under there and have cold water, even if it's in the summer. It's still, it's come from underground. It's still cold water, which is great. Now, some people have turned around and said don't drink. Now, this is entirely up to you. Don't drink it or do drink it. I've had it myself. It tastes really nice, to be honest. But people have been drinking spring water for thousands of years. So take your own precautions if you wanted to. So what else has been happening apart from the Hamston Well video? Well, we've been on the we've been filming other things which haven't even come out yet. They're ongoing. One of them will be coming out this week. Another one that's come out fairly recently was that tower, that weird sort of shaped building on the Mells stretch in between Morton and Mells. If you're going from Morton, if you know the car lane or car farm little shop place over there on the left, if you're heading in that direction, before you get to that, you'll see this strange looking structure. It's actually circular in shape if you were to look at it from above. People think it looks like a UFO or radio aerial. The radio aerial is quite close to what it actually is. Actually, it being it's called a VOR. A VOR is a point really for aircraft. There are loads of these all over the world, all given the same name of VOR. This one is called the Wallasey VOR. Probably that's the nearest town to it. Otherwise, I wouldn't know why it would called it Wallasey all the way over there. So it's like a radio transmitter which has 360 separate transmitters within it. And an aircraft, say over the RAC or even as far as Birmingham or Ireland, can pick up this signal, and the signal it gets back will tell it where it's coming from, i.e. the Wallasey VOR, and what degree or angle that aircraft is, or it is away from the aircraft. So they know, they'll be told by air traffic control, head towards Wallasey VOR. That's part of their flight path. It also referred to as WAL, or Whiskey Alpha Lima. And it's a form of tracking. Nowadays, of course, there's more GPS involved and things like this, but this is a fail-safe backup which has been worked since they were installed in the 1960s, I'll go and say 1960s. So the video is basically about what is it, and then explains what I've just told you really, and some good visuals of where to see it, how to get relatively close to it. You can't get too close. You probably see that as a security breach, getting too close to something like that, as it's affecting aircraft. But there is a public footpath that runs very close to it that you can go up and down and have a look at it from there. You actually get quite close to it, to be honest. It's probably 200 yards away, something like that. So that's the Wallasey view. Also, it shows you why, if it's a clear day, there's always the contrails up in the sky. Planes are always going over at the peninsula, at high altitude. Works for low altitude as well, but high altitude especially. And you may even see them, a contrail coming along and then changing direction. It gets to that. It's a bit like turning left at a junction in terms of the aircraft. So they'll be sent towards Wallasey VOR. As they arrive at it, then the air traffic controller will say, okay, you're there now. Now head towards the Birmingham VOR, wherever it happens to may be. And the pilots then find that and then turn and off they go to that one. Basically how it works. So you do see a lot of the contrails or planes slightly changing direction in the sky over the peninsula, and that's what it's all about. That's why they do it. Right, so where else have we been? Let's just check up on some comments that have come through. Okay, yeah, so we've got a comment here. By the way, if you are following on the replay of this after the event, you can bring up the live chat. Obviously, you can't comment in it because it's not live anymore, but you can see when people ask questions and see what they're talking about on there. So we've got one here from Morgan, and he says, "Hi, I've been a fan for the channel for ages." Well, that's brilliant. I do live on the Wirral. When I was in Birkenhead yesterday, I was appalled by the state of it. Do we know what they're meant to be doing with the town? Yeah, I mean, I was talking to somebody today about Birkenhead. Historically, such a grand stature of a town. You can see that by, the buildings, especially around Hamilton Square, or from the docks, from the Hamilton Square. Hamilton Square is supposedly, and I have measured it, it's roughly right, it's the world's squarest square. A lot of the squares are more rectangular or not quite as rectangular or square shape, but the Hamilton Square is supposed to be the world's most squarest square. And some of the buildings that are in Birkenhead and a lot of the big houses more further out towards Oxton area, big houses. One of the owners of Camel Laird's lived in one of them, and at the time, the house is still there. At the time, they could see across into Liverpool Bay and see the ships coming in. There was a lot of grandeur in Birkenhead. That's been lost and fell massively. When would people think from the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s? It certainly has. A lot of those big houses have been sold, split into flats. So instead of well-off people buying a big house, it's now rented off into 20 small bedsits. Obviously, there's a lot less money involved in that. People with a lot less money than there used to be. So it's really taken a big step backwards, Birkenhead. And I believe they've been trying to regenerate the town. And I believe that the work has come to a halt as well. I haven't been down there too close to it for a while, but it still looks like in a state of obviously unfinished. So I don't know. I don't know if the builders have not been paid, or the builders have gone out of business, or there's no more money to pay them, or something like that. Don't know what's happening with that. Another place that used to have the grandeur of Birkenhead as well was Wallasey, of course. I mean, just look at some of the buildings there in Wallasey Town Hall. It had that status, and that's been lost. And people say that the money's gone from Wallasey into Birkenhead, and now Birkenhead hasn't got the money either. So where's it all coming from? We don't know. If anyone knows anything about it, or get in touch with local, or ask a local councillor if they're aware of it. There may be articles on the World Globe website, possibly on there, if you can read it. A lot of the stuff is very, very brief news articles on the not sure about, Morgan's back on it. So yeah, I'm not sure about Liscard, but I know a lot's happened in the Cherry Tree Shopping Centre. A lot's happened there. I haven't been through Liscard for a while, to be honest, especially the main shopping area. But that used to be a big place as well. No excuse either. People say that the internet has been driving people to buy online, and no one goes into town anymore like they used to. No excuse with that, I don't think. People use it as an excuse, but it's no excuse, because if you went to Cheshire Oaks tomorrow, any other day, it'll be busy. If you went over to Liverpool and Liverpool 1, it will be busy. If you went to Bromborough and the all the shops at Bromborough, it would be busy. So why wouldn't it work in, people are still going out and buying things in shops and ordering online, yeah. but they're still going out and getting things on shop. So if it works there, it can work in Birkenhead as well. With the right, it's got to attract the right type of shops and things like that for it to become popular as well. So let's see what's that. Anfield Road layout in the loft is on. Hello. And Carter, will you go and see the former Merseyrail train? Oh yeah, 507001 at the Tennant Valley Light Railway. I'd like to, yeah. I mean, they've had 2 videos on the channel regarding the 507 Preservation Society. Like 2 little interviews, if you like. And it was just by chance. When would this be now? Probably a year or so ago. You can go back and find the video if you want, but just by chance, I was meeting Rob. Is that his name? I think it is. He's like the president or the secretary of the 507 Association. I was going to meet him at New Brighton station to do a bit of an interview with him. We got permission from the station master in there. We went onto the platform, and what was on the platform was 507001 in the blue livery. So we did the whole video by the driving cab of that train, and they're talking about that train. They're talking about it going to Tennant Valley, and obviously they had to raise money to get it there. And if you keep in touch, if you go to the 507, you just have to search it, the 507 Preservation Trust website or the Facebook page. You'll see any updates that it's got on there. I don't know here's a question, is it at the Tennant Valley Light Railway, or is it, last I knew it was in a work somewhere. I don't know if it's Crewe or Swindon or something like that. Not sure. I'd have to have a look it up myself. But when it gets onto the Heritage Railway, it'd be brilliant to go and visit it and go back on that train again. How long's it been for all of us? How long has it been for all of you since you last went on the say old train? The 507 trains, the ones that have just gone, because these new ones have been in for quite a while now, haven't they? Let's catch up on here. People using that online as excuse to decline the Birkenhead and Liscar, but it's not true. As I said, Liverpool can be very busy. Yeah, exactly. So they can't use online shopping as an excuse. I can tell you what, if you have the same, if you tell me what my excuses are for never going to Birkenhead, it was awkward to park. I always found that a pain. You had to park up and then walk in. There was nothing much there. Shops were closing. Some of the bigger shops, like the Marks and Spencers and places like that, were closing. And there was nothing, for me, it might be different for everybody else. For me, there was nothing there. When I was a kid and when I was, a lot younger, especially for Christmas presents and things like that, I was there every Christmas doing the Christmas shopping, but there's nothing there nowadays. That's why I don't go there. But if they change it and it becomes decent enough to go back to, I definitely would do. Okay, Birkenhead is rubbish. Yeah, it is at the minute, absolutely. It is now, yeah. Liverpool and Chester are better. That is completely true. So I'd rather go, Cheshire Oaks or Liverpool aren't the better places to go and shock if you needed to. Right, no, that is in Derby. That's right, yeah, you're right, yeah. Derby Works, is it? The 200-year celebrations of National Road Music will be moving soon to its very new home. Brilliant, yeah. That'd be brilliant to go and see it. Now, they do say in the video some of the plans for it. because obviously it needs a third rail for electricity, so it's how they're going to run it. I don't know where they're up to with that. Main thing was keeping the carriages. That was the main thing that they were wanting to do to preserve it, as you'd have got on it over the past 40 years. But it may be pulled by diesel, it may be pulled by they may have also, they were talking about putting batteries on it, so they'd charge up the batteries and then use the batteries to run the electric motors, so it would actually run over its own power. That was another option that they had, which was a good one. Of course, also mentioning about if they wanted to do some like green energy recharging system, so it was a green train as well at the time, solar power, wind power, to charge the batteries up. Maybe it would run once a week or 2 times a week at the weekend, and they could charge it up during the week. Okay, so Anfield Road layout, just adding a vlog going from Chester to see making tracks layout. Oh yeah, that's the model railway, isn't it? That was Pete Waterman did. That was in the cathedral. Yeah, that would be a good one. That it's a really good massive layout. Yeah, it's been going there a couple of years. See what else is out there. Yeah, love the Wimpy and Birkenhead. Long gone. Is it long gone? Or is it not? Or is it, did I see it last? I know where it was, on that little square. There's a question if anyone knows. Now that square where the Wimpy used to be, and the Army and Navy stores, there was a pillar with a clock on it. That I've seen a picture of it recently. It reminded me of it. Where's that clock gone? So yeah, that was Mervyn who said that. Yeah, it's a ghost town nowadays. Didn't know the Prinsbury Centre was busy, but the town itself wasn't that busy. Yeah, maybe the Pyramids is a bit busy, possibly because it has the food stalls in it. Is there a Burger King and a Subway and places like that? So that could be a reason why that bit's quite more popular. Anfield Road. My channel is model trains. He's got a trailer. Yeah, but I used to do model railways when I was a kid, and I've followed a few people making. I'll have to check out your channel itself, and if anyone else is interested in the Carter, for example, he knows about the Derby Works and the 200-year celebrations. Have a check out of his Anfield Road layout channel as well. So what else have we been up to? Yeah, the Bromborough video is the last one that came out, wasn't it? That was all about the little village of Bromborough, the Saxon village of Bromborough. Looking at places like the Anglo-Saxon Cross, which is in the middle, Stanhope House, which is a house. I think it's an accountant's now, but it's been there for a long time. St Barnabas Church, which is quite near to the cross, and we also looked at the industrial park on the other side, saying how that's quite recent. The A41 road, but then so you've got an old Saxon village, a major road which actually goes from Birkenhead all the way to London, the A41 does, an industrial estate. So how it's kind of grown from what it was to what it is now. Through the Battle of Brunanburg as well, which was said to be in and around Bromborough, said to be the birthplace of England, is Bromborough, where this battle happened. It's when the Mercians and the Saxons came together, who were the two different forces, to fight a common enemy, which was the Vikings. And and that's where it's thought that where England sort of stood its first time. What Mercia was in one part of England, and they came together to fight a common enemy, and England was born in Bromborough. And we look at the Brotherton Park and Dibbonsdale Nature Reserve. And another claim to fame that has is another spring. I was talking about springs earlier on. Another spring, which is called St. Patrick's Spring, where it's said that St. Patrick himself, yes, the one that went to Ireland, stopped off there on his way to King's Gap in Hoylake to get on a long boat, and whichever kind of sailing ship it was at the time, to go over to Ireland. St. Patrick's Well. Okay. Yeah, and Anfield Road. Liverpool fan, I'm guessing, also lives on the Wirral. It's been closed down for years. Oh, is it? Yeah, but Woolworths was brought back, and Ethel Austin. Oh yeah, Woolworths in Birkenhead would be fantastic, wouldn't it? It's where that clothing store is, right opposite where Asda was. Asda is, sorry, that's where Woolworths used to be. But yeah, going back to that, if we ever went down to see it, I'd get in touch with Rob at the 507 Preservation Society and go down and possibly meet him down there and then have a bit of a catch up. That'd be a great video to make, have a catch up with him with the train at the new place, make a video about it, maybe interview some of the people who live down there, who run the valley, the railway itself. And that'd be a great update for everyone here if anyone wasn't managing to get down there. Yeah, I'd love the unit to be fitted with batteries, all able to move on its own, and possibly be able to hear all the sounds that it made during its time in service. Yeah, exactly. I think that's what their idea was, to install batteries. And Rob actually said what did he say? He said that they've had technical discussions with, I think it's Angel Trains. I think they're the ones who run the maintenance on them, I think it was. And they said it's technically possible, and there's room to install batteries underneath the carriages. So technically possible. Obviously costs money, and of course they're always trying to raise money, and that's an important thing for them to go and do, is to raise the money to make these possible and to maintain them going forward. And how many people, be great as well now to arrange. Obviously people in Liverpool as well are very familiar with them, so it'd be great to arrange it's an idea for them, coach trips down to the new railway to see the train, make a day of it. Was Williams where Primark is now? I don't know tell when it's shop. Yeah, it is exactly right. Yeah, the Primark, that's the shop I was thinking of. Primark is Woolworths. Another one that's gone is W.H. Smith's. I think they've all gone now. Even the one in Heswell's gone. The W.H. Smith's is a charity shop further down on the left. It's now a charity shop, and that was a W.H. Smith's. So something that's coming up pretty soon is, well, it's about a nature reserve that you probably haven't been to. It's right in the heart of the borough, should we say. Not the heart of the peninsula, but heart of the borough. And you've probably never been to it. You probably don't know it's there. It didn't used to be a nature reserve, but it's turning into a nature reserve as we speak, with the help of a lot of volunteers and helpers. They did some quite significant work on it last week, and we tried to cover a bit of it, and we talked to one of the guys there, Um, and so that is something that is coming up fairly soon, possibly on this Sunday. Let's have a look here. Yes, in Heswell. W.H. Smith is now called T.G. Jones. Yeah, I think they've all changed. Maybe the whole name's changed. Don't know why. Maybe the whole name's changed. But that leads us on to thanks to someone as well. There's everyone in the chat this week coming onto this live stream. There was people in last month's, well, the 1 or 2 weeks ago, that live stream. But it's great to see different people and more people in this one. But somebody in the last live stream donated to one of our, we're doing this 1,000,000 step challenge for diabetes. You can look at it's a national thing, the 1,000,000 step challenge. You may have seen adverts for it on the TV where you can sign up and do it. And we're all well on our way. It goes up into September to get the 1,000,000 steps. We're actually going for more than 1,000,000 steps. It's 1.7 million. And so a great big thanks to whoever it was last week. Someone made an anonymous donation next week. The link is in the description of this video. If anyone wanted to donate just a small amount, it doesn't matter whatsoever, to this cause. It's basically more than they say the 10,000 steps a day is what you should be getting. It's basically, well, it's a lot more than 10,000 steps per day in order to get to that 1.7 million that we'll be getting to. So the link's in the description for that. LW9520, I'm from the Wirral. Excellent. This is the place to be. Where on the Wirral are you? Let's see, Carter's back on. I'd also love the society to be able to give members of the public to drive the train into supervision of a driver who had experienced driving the 507s. Yeah, what a brilliant idea that would be, yeah? I mean, that's a great... Now, a lot of heritage railways you can obviously visit and pay to go on and have a ride on the old steam trains and things like that. Of course, nowadays, diesel trains are becoming heritage, and now, of course, we've got an electric train which has become heritage. And but on those other ones, the Llangollen Railway is a good example. You can actually, have a footplate experience, as they call it. So you can go in the cab, you can pull the levers and pull the valves, or open up the throttle on the diesel, or open up the motor on the electric train. So that'd be a great thing if they could do that. Get in touch with the society, the 507 Society, and give them it's a money revenue for them, isn't it? Great Christmas presents or birthday presents as well for someone, wouldn't it? Oh, we got you. You could hint it to your family maybe. Oh, we got you a present to drive the 507 train. Great video. Great stream. Thanks. LW952. Oh, you're in Heswell. Excellent. Yes, I was in Heswell today. Right down by the traffic lights. Right, there's a video on here ages ago that was off Whaley Lane in Pensby. There's an abandoned hidden field. I know what you mean. I haven't done one on it, but there was a bit of a railway line on that field. So yeah, I could look into that, see where the railway line, if it's the one that I'm thinking of. I'll have to check that out again. Okay. Yeah, and thanks to everyone as well. And if any of you have any of these ideas, I was looking at yeah, if anyone wants to send an email, the wirralchannel@outlook.com. If you want to say, send me any information or anything like that on an email you don't want to put on the chat, then you can send it an email, the wirralchannel@outlook.com. Yeah, so I might be able to check that video out, see if anyone did that one that's on Whaley Lane. I did one on Fisher's Lane. That was to do with the Dixie Dean video that we did. Yeah, so the video coming out this week. I was something else I was going to mention then, and it's lost me again. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, so if anyone has any, last week people put forward a load of different ideas for things to cover, places to go, places to cover, things like that, of videos that you would like to see. There's a good list of them, some great ideas. Some videos are actually harder to do than you would imagine. You may see people, especially nowadays, you know, just take the phone somewhere, start recording, upload it onto YouTube, and it's all done. It's far more difficult than that when you try and make a proper video. So we'll definitely if you have any ideas, just put it down, put it in the chat, put it in the comments. And we're looking into doing them. We have got an awful lot. There's loads of things to do, to be honest, loads and loads. I mean, I've done over 150 videos so far, and there's loads more. Okay, let's see what more. Funny enough, I was in Heswell today. There's a Beatles tribute act at the Harvest Mouse pub this afternoon. Which was it? Yeah, I've seen a couple of them. Beatles tributes. Another one we're trying to do is about one of the homes of the Beatles, which is in Neston. One of the first places the Beatles played as the Beatles was in Neston, and there was 5 of them at the time. But it was the first time they called themselves the Beatles. And Hume Hall in Port Sunlight is the first time that the 4 that we all know played for the first time. So there's plenty of firsts. We've got a whole video about the Beatles on the peninsula, because they played an awful lot on the peninsula. Yeah, so there are a lot. So yeah, there's a lot to making some videos. I mean, I'll give you some ideas. There's one about the Chariots of Fire film that was filmed around here. Well, part of the video was filmed. Part of the film was filmed around here. To actually, what I was trying to do is go back to the actual places that the film covers, and sort of recreate, or at least go to the same place that they filmed it from, to show you what it was like now. It's like, what's it like in the film? What's it like now? And because the running track is on private land or council land, you need permission to go on there. You can't just turn up and film. I'm sure just people do if they go there on the phone. I don't know why filming things on your phone and uploading it to YouTube is any different than turning up with a camera and a tripod and microphones and things like that. But obviously it just looks different, doesn't it? One of the problems I have is I turn up with all this gear and it looks like I'm doing it for the BBC or something, whereas I may as well turn up with a phone and, you know, not get the same result, but able to do it without anyone noticing it. So I was really interested to see that video. The Beatles performed on the Wirral. I never knew this. Yeah, they performed a lot on the Wirral. You'll just say the Beatles venues on the Wirral Peninsula if you search for it, something along those lines. I go round to each place. There's a place in West Kirby, there's a place in Liscard, there's a place in Birkenhead, there's a place in Bebington, there's Hume Hall in Port Sunlight, there is the Apollo Dance, which is from between Morton and Leasowe, still there that is, and there's the a place in Barnston. Esdra I think they played Heswell Hall as well. And of course the Tower Grounds at New Brighton when that was there. In fact, outside of Liverpool, because he obviously played the most in the city of Liverpool, outside of Liverpool, New Brighton Tower Ballroom underneath the tower was the most times he played was in New Brighton outside of Liverpool. Yeah, so if I go out to take my GoPros and my camera everywhere with me, yeah, I mean if you got a proper camera, GoPros are great for their own uses. If you got a proper camera as well. And if you do go out, have you ever? This has happened to me so many times. As soon as you set up, someone comes up to you. Sometimes they're just curious of what they're doing. I was one time actually by a station, and the person came out and said, because you're not allowed to film on stations. Don't know if people know this, but you're basically not allowed to film on stations without permission. Most of the time, people get away with it. But I have actually been stopped filming on a station. It was Liso Station several years ago. Yeah, you're not allowed to film on it without permission. If you ask for permission and ask them beforehand, they'd probably be all right with it. But it's different when you are, if it's like the BBC turning up, it's different, isn't it? To if someone turns up with, like you would turn up with a GoPro or a little phone or whatever, or that little cameras. It's different. It's obvious you're not doing it for. You're not making a £50,000 documentary about something. You're just filming something on there. And I'm not getting that either. But obviously, it looks like I am. If I went to the any time I had got away with that without asking permission, I did a video about the Cheshireman, which was one of the Black 5 steam engines, and the Nigel Gresley, which came into Chester Station long ago. I think it was last summer, and I turned up with all my camera stuff and everything, but there was hundreds of people there, and they knew it was it'd be a popular thing, and they're not going to chuck hundreds of people off for taking a photograph of a steam train. So times like that, you can it's easy to do because no one's bothered in that situation. So if any other ideas, what I've been trying to do more recently is go to places and meet organisations that are generally volunteer or charity based, rather than going to a commercial premises. You just promoting them for free then. I don't really need to do that, but the more charity ones and volunteer ones do need that. So places like, we've done the Hadlow Road video. So I did the Hadlow Road video and met all the people and interviewed everyone there. They know what they're talking about, don't they? About their own area, in that case, their own station. They know what they're talking about a lot more than what I know. And just me talking to camera about, what a million people have said before about Hadlow Road. But when you talk to the actual people and interview them, they give you so much more information, so much more in depth, and you realise there's a lot that goes into it. Similar to the Friends of Liso Lighthouse, when we visited the Liso Lighthouse, they talk about the stuff rather than me just doing some brief outline of it. And we've been over to Hilbury Island, talk with the Friends of Hilbury Island over there. They have the knowledge. So if anyone has any ideas for that, an example is the Bidston Hill. The observatory, Friends of the Observatory, which we're trying to get in touch with as well. Or if anyone has any other ideas, that'd be great. this is for all you to see. You know, it's not for me to make, it's for you, you to see. And I try to make things that, you know, more people will be interested in and predominantly learn about as well, because it's brilliant for everyone. You know, when someone watches something and go, I didn't know that. I've never even seen that place before. Sometimes people comment and said, I've lived here my whole life and I've no idea that that was there. You know, and that's brilliant for everyone. You know, you've realised something, you find out something. Yeah, so and this one that's coming up about this nature reserve, they're volunteer ones as well. So we'll see how things progress with that. But if anyone wants to send an email, again, the email is thewirralchannel@outlook.com. If you've got anything to say or to anything to send or any ideas, or if you or know someone, maybe they're involved in some kind of animal rescue or something, or they help out. The RNLI is another one that we want to get involved with. Talk to some people at the RNLI. The first time you've been on a live stream and I live there, yeah, I think everyone here does. Everyone who's in the chat, and most people who watch this channel are from here. There are the odd exception. A lot of people as well have moved away and they're looking back, you know, where they came from, and they're catching up on what things are like here now, which is great for them. I know there's people in Australia that watch. They lived here as a kid and they moved to Australia, and I think okay, so Morgan's back on. I think this is a lot with the videos on this channel. It makes me want to explore the Wirral more in depth, as I've lived here my own whole life. Wallasey when I was growing up, and then currently Pensby. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the more you find out, the more there is to find out, if you understand what I mean. You just get, you know, you find a build or find a little place and you think, oh, what's this? And it just unveils so many extra things that you didn't even imagine. And stories, they're the other things that fascinate a lot of people, is stories. Stories behind things. Liso Lighthouse, the story behind that, the people behind that. These people lived on the Wirral as well. The first female lighthouse keeper was at Liso Lighthouse. You know, that's something you find out when you when you start to learn about it. It's the oldest brick lighthouse in Great Britain. It was different to most other lighthouses. If you think of a lighthouse, what we generally think of a lighthouse is something that is, it's a warning to ships, isn't it? It's a warning which basically says, stay away from me. I'm on rocks, I'm on an island, I'm on hidden rocks, I am dangerous, stay away from me. And that's the idea of a lighthouse. The difference, though, the difference with Liso, it was the opposite of that. On the top of Liso Lighthouse, there was, they didn't have lights. This is before electricity. They had a cast iron plate, still there now if you go up to the top of the lighthouse. And what they did is light a bonfire. And they set a bonfire alight on top of Liso Lighthouse. It's inside the dome at the top with the glass windows. It's inside that now. And it was the lighthouse keeper's duty to keep that fire burning. So that wasn't a flashing light, it was a constant light. Now, if you imagine as well, there's no other light pollution around at the time, so it doesn't get mixed up with anything else. There was also a lighthouse on Bidston Hill. That was the same. So from the sea, ships coming in could see a bonfire on Bidston Hill and a bonfire at Liso Lighthouse. There were constant light sources, constant burning, you know, white hot, red hot. It basically meant come towards me. And that's the difference with that lighthouse to nearly every other. It means as the ships would sail towards it. Now, as these two lights, if you imagine the perspective here, right, as the ship was moving, there was a light here at Bidston and a light here at Liso. As the ship was moving, the two lights would come together. And then when they came together, it meant now turn, because they were into the channel to take them into the River Mersey, and then the light would go the other way. So it was drawing them towards it, and when the two lights met up, that's when they turned. I mean, that's 1768. That lighthouse was built, and that was the technology for guiding ships, so they didn't hit rocks. So they sent them down the channel. Can't remember what it's called. They do mention it in that video. Or if you went on the tour as well, when they have an open day, you can go down to the lighthouse. Don't know if you need to book, but you can go in. It's about £5 or something like that, and they take you all around the lighthouse, up to the top, up into the different rooms. You know, loads of things to learn from that, and you can ask the people questions as well. It's brilliant in there as well. Yeah, so okay, yeah, you sent an email through. That is brilliant. I will check that out in a bit. And now obviously this channel makes you know, basically nothing in terms of any money or anything like that. We're not a Mr. Beast channel or anything like that. Oh, Dave is on. Yeah, you've loads of comments from Dave on a lot of the videos. So good to see you in the live stream. I don't know if you've been in any others, but we started bringing up the live streams again. Trying to try and do them every couple of weeks now, and keep everyone updated on what's going on and what's coming up. All of you to give a bit of feedback, things like that, or ask me things live. Also, as well, looking at maybe some point, there's some system, we're going to have to look at it, where people can call in, either on webcam or just by voice chat or things like that, but call in and become part of the live stream voice wise. Oh yeah, Morgan's back on. Out of interest, you know if you can explore Radio City Tower? Oh yeah, St John's Beacon. No reason really, but intrigued. I don't. I know you used to be able to. You definitely could. They were doing tours up there, you know, all the time when Radio City was in it. But I don't know if they do now. Don't know if they do now, because it's the other station up there. Is it the what's it called? Hits Radio Liverpool or something. So I don't know if they're doing the same thing. You could look it up maybe. Oh, there's the fundraising page that we told you about earlier. The link is in the description of this video. If you can see it. What I'll do as well, actually, is I'll put a link in the... where's all my links gone? Hang on. Yeah, I'll put a link into the chat if you can't find it in the description. There we go, it's another chat. And big thanks as well to whoever it was who did an anonymous donation 2 weeks ago on the last live stream. So yeah, so thoughts about doing collaborative work with local Wirral users. I don't know of anybody else. To be honest, I've heard of the Liam guy, but I haven't seen any of his stuff for quite a while. He used to like walk around. I've seen him do things like walk around the pubs of Birkenhead and things like that at one point, or yeah, I remember in the 80s, Radio City over in Liverpool was in Stanley Street. Used to go there and get stickers. Was it Stanley Street? I remember they were in or North John Street as well. Radio City, yeah. 194 Radio City on the old medium wave. That's right, I know what you mean. And Radio Merseyside was on Paradise Street, which is right in the heart of Liverpool 1 now, and that's why it disappeared from Liverpool 1. Kev Seed, yeah, I remember Kev Seed. It was on the Radio City in the morning. Yeah, the breakfast show. That's right. Yeah. What did he end up doing? Did he end up doing a? Is he one who went to Radio Merseyside, or did he go somewhere else? I know a Steve. Oh, what's his last name? It's a Steve who does that on-demand radio. I've done some work with him before. Even it's funny as well now that on-demand radio or in-demand radio, it's it's set out as being a Liverpool radio station, but it's actually a Liscard. It's on the road. It's opposite. It's just like an old electronic shop or a electronics repair shop or something like that. There's like a suit hire place over there. It's opposite that. I can't remember the name of the road. Yeah, the Matthew Street festivals. Are they still going on, those Matthew Street festivals? Oh, right. Who did that in the Arrow Park roundabout? Kev Seed and people like that. I didn't know about that when it was still a roundabout, which it would have been in 1998. The only reason the roundabout went was because of the open Gulf at Hoylake. That was the reason the roundabout went. It was a main feed from the motorway for people to get to the car parks over nearer to Greasby. Yeah, imagine you had to take a double take stone cold winter in a pair of trunks or something. Yeah, not what you're expecting on an icy morning. Yeah, but that's why the roundabout went, because they wanted to have controlled traffic, and they took the roundabout up to put traffic lights in so they could control the traffic going towards the Open. And I remember the first day of the Open that year, on the Thursday, the queue of cars was going halfway down the M53, nearly hit Clatterbridge. And that was the queue to get up to the traffic lights at Arrow Park, because the lights failed on day one. So they ripped up the roundabout and put lights in, and the first thing they did is fail. And it was complete and utter mayhem. They fixed it for day 2 and things like that. And now we've had to put up with traffic lights instead of a roundabout for what's nearly 20 years, which is quite scary. I think it was the 2006 Open Championship. There's also that road as well. You know, the road between Sorghum Massey and Three Lanes End, the little roundabout there, used to be across the bridge, the Thomas Brassey Bridge, which we've covered quite recently on the video, with the Thomas Brassey Society, and the first bridge that Thomas Brassey made. That new road, the original road, was more of a twisty country lane, but that road was put in again for the Open Championship. They took the cars up that road And they parked on some of the fields over to the left, close to where RAF West Kirby used to be. Yeah, so if I remember rightly, when I would visit my nan in Pensby, I used to travel from Birkenhead as I lived in Wallasey. Didn't the 471 72 buses never used to go? Oh, I don't know. I don't know if they did or didn't. Before the number 4 at the front, they used to be called a 71 and a 72. Yeah, it could have been. That look on the roundabout. Yeah, right. There was on the roundabout. There was a little bus lay-by with a little proper little bus shelter there. Is that where they stopped for the hospital? You know, for access to the hospital? Did they stop there and then you got up and walked up to the hospital? Is that the only way they did it at that point in time? Obviously, prior to that, there was no. Well, prior to the 90. When did it open? 82, sorry. There was no hospital, so all the buses would have turned left at Arrow Park roundabout anyway. Yeah, the 71 and the 72 basically did the same routes as the 471 and 72. Yeah, you definitely went past Landican. But when they got to the Thingwall roundabout and they turned right, the 71 went down towards Irby and the 72 carried on up towards Pensby and Thingwall. In fact, there used to be other buses, a 73, 74, 75 and 76 as well. They all existed. They all went slightly different routes once they got into Heswall. One of them actually went to Lower Heswall. Then the 76 went into the bus station, it was there, into the bus station, back out again, down to the D View Hotel, which is on that hairpin bend with the mirror on it, and it went right the way down to the Sheldrakes on the coast there. That's the way the 76 used to go, all the way down to the bottom. And of course then, before the number 4 was brought in, none of the buses went to Liverpool either. They all went to Woodside. Yeah, definitely was they weren't as frequent. It was one of those where there may have been. I think the 76 ran. I think those other buses ran, at peak times. Now you may see the 472 have a sign on it in peak times which says Barnston, because it goes into the bus station around Lower Heswall and then finishes in Barnston, and all the other buses say Heswall on it. It was very similar to one of those. It was like every so often, rush hour, or maybe Saturday and Sundays as well, then they had the 73, 74, 76. Might be able to look it up somewhere, or some bus enthusiasts might know a lot more about where those particular buses went. I can't remember off the top of my head, but anyone remember the guy who I called Landican Larry? He wore a big coat and a deerstalker hat and continually walked up and down past Landican and Asda, rolling fags up all day. I've never seen him, to be honest. Now I don't know. Don't know if I spotted him or noticed him or anything like that. Funny the odd things you remember about bus numbers. But I think it's when the buses split, there was MTPE and Crosville. They were the two bus companies, and when all of those went, and then you had, at one point we had Wirral buses, didn't we? And then eventually it went to Stagecoach and Arriva. When Arriva came on, then all of a sudden the 4 appeared. There's a lot of Arriva buses which have the number 4 at the front of the number. The old numbers with the same bus routes, like the 403 for example, used to be the number 3. It went roughly the same way. the 462. Is it the 46? No, the 464 that goes to New Ferry or Rock Ferry. That was the 64. So the Arriva company put the number 4 in front of all those numbers and then carried on doing the routes. I mean, things have changed bit by bit over time. Little things that I notice. Just my mind going crazy half the time. Yeah, so we'll be back in a couple of weeks. Should be a few more videos that have gone out by then. So keep an eye out for them, generally on a Sunday. If nothing comes out on a Sunday, don't worry about it. It's either, sometimes we've got a couple of different projects on the go at once and none of them are finished at that point in time. So nothing comes out. But otherwise, we check back in with the live stream in a couple of weeks, provisionally say 2 weeks, and we'll see you all. See you all then. If all of you could come back, that would be brilliant. And people who were in the stream last week, they may see the replay, and they catch it next week. That'd be brilliant as well. But until then, I'll see you all in a fortnight.